This is Glenn Hughes, the voice of rock, and you're listening to Music Mania.
You ready for some screaming heavy metal? We rock! But the evil that men do, then done. We gonna bang your head!
You are now listening to the Music Mania podcast, brought to you by CD Warehouse in Gladstone, the #1 hard rock podcast in the Midwest, featuring hard-hitting interviews with rock's living legends. And now, here's your host, Clint Schweitzer.
Thank you for joining us on another edition of the Music Mania podcast. I am your host, Clint Schweitzer. Your money stays and plays with us right here because you know the songs. On this show, we tell you the stories, and this summer marks the return of the Snake. Whitesnake is back out on the road after not touring in 2017. They're going to be opening for Foreigner on this summer's Jukebox Heroes Tour. It's going to be a massive lineup, also featuring Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Experience. You're going to be hearing a couple hours of major rock hits on this tour, hitting big venues all over the country starting on June 15th this week. It's going to all be starting for the Jukebox Heroes Tour. So we're going to be talking with Whitesnake guitarist Joel Hoekstra on this show, talking about his involvement with Whitesnake. He's been in the band 4 years now. Going to be discussing the band's upcoming album, Flesh and Blood, which got pushed back until February. We're going to be talking to him about what happened there, why the album got pushed back. Also, the fact that he tours with Cher. Also, Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Joel Hoekstra, one of the busier guys in rock, man. He is everywhere, and he's been in Whitesnake for 4 years now, and he's going to talk about just how much fun David Coverdale is having with this version of the band. You talk about great musicianship. Guys like Michael Devin, Reb Beach as the other guitarist. Reb Beach has been in the band about 15 years now. And of course, the incomparable Tommy Aldridge on drums, one of the great rock drummers. Whitesnake has always featured some of the great musicians in hard rock, and it's no different in 2018. Of course, you think back to some of the great guitarists that have gone through there, guys like John Sykes, Doug Aldrich, David Coverdale. He works with the best, and that's what you see here. That's what this tour is going to be, and of course, it's all going to kind of point towards their album being released early next year, and then probably a lot of touring from Whitesnake off of that album. But this is going to give you a little taste. The greatest hits are going to be presented here at the Jukebox Heroes Tour, on tour with Foreigner. It's going to be a great bill. Look forward to that hitting Kansas City here on July 17th. And because this show is too big for just one guest, we are also going to be joined by the enigmatic Jesse Blaze Snider. Yes, the son of Twisted Sister frontman Dee Snider, going to be joining us to talk about everything, all of his endeavors, his musical career, his new graphic novel that he's trying to get made, which is called King of Kings. Kind of a satire. I mean, it's awesome. I've checked this out. JesseBlaze.com. You can check out kind of the concept and some of the artwork done on this thing. It's going to be awesome. He's got his dad in one of the promo videos. Dee Snider's playing the part of Odin. It's just awesome stuff. JesseBlaze.com. So we're going to, in our second segment, going to be joined by Jesse Blaze Snider. So a lot of big things coming up here. So excited about this show. Before we do that, I've got to tell you about our sponsor, CD Warehouse in Gladstone, Missouri, for over 22 years, a staple of the Northland. I bought 95% of the music that I still own today from CD Warehouse in Gladstone. Guys, they buy, sell, and trade CDs, DVDs, vinyl, and more. You can catch them on Antioch Road in Gladstone, guys, for over 20 years. There is nothing like the record store experience. Keep that alive. Go see my buddy Randy Ringer at CD Warehouse. They will give you a discount, or it's on us.
Hey, Clint.
Joel, man, how's it going, my friend?
It's going great. Thank you for switching over to phone for me.
Oh, no problem. It's funny. I think the last time we had you on Skype, you were somewhere in Norway or something, and it was just kind of funny thinking back. It's been a couple years now, though, and been busy since. Man, how's everything been going? I know you've been out there doing a lot of different projects, man, so hope all's well.
Everything's great, man. Thank you.
Well,
yeah.
I did have one big disappointment. I tell you, I went to see Trans-Siberian Orchestra for the first time this December, and it just happened to be one of the days you were somewhere else. So I was like,
no, you saw the West band.
Yep.
There's two bands out simultaneously.
Yes. Yes.
So, that's a common thing with that. People get like, hey, I thought you were supposed to be an orchestra, so I'll do it at the same time.
And it's an awesome show, and it was my first time, and so much. It's just wonderful, and I know that you've been a part of it, and I know that it's a big thing for you. And I loved it, man. I loved everything about it. So it reinvigorated my love for Christmas music, I think. So hopefully it does the same for you and doesn't lean you in the other direction, playing that every night during the winter.
It doesn't do anything in that regard to me. I just enjoy doing the gig, more than anything. It's like it's tradition for me at this point, man. I've been doing it since 2010, so it's like not Christmas without doing TSO for me at this point. So
next time I'm gonna have to get to one of the ones you're at. No doubt next winter. But you got a lot going on, of course, in between right now. Probably I'm guessing in the middle of rehearsals for this for the upcoming tour with Whitesnake and Foreigner. A lot of press. A lot of positive press about this so far. Joel, this is a big tour for Whitesnake and a big tour for Foreigner. This is going to be fun, man. You got dates starting up here. I think the tour starts this week, man, so a lot of excitement going on for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we just wrapped rehearsals here in LA. I'm the last one in the room because I'm going straight to LAX from here and taking a red eye. So, we just wrapped rehearsals, and the reason being is it takes the gear now has to make its way across the country to Maine, where the tour is going to start. We've been in LA rehearsing, so we got to give the gear a few days to get out there to Maine, and then we fire it up on June 15th, man. So Jason Bonham, Whitesnake, Foreigner, not a bad bill.
This is a great bill, and just kind of wrapping rehearsals and just kind of talk about what kind of a set that the fans can kind of expect from Whitesnake, of course, going on before Foreigner on this tour. Kind of a length of time. What are you guys looking at right now? And I think David Coverdale had talked about on the Eddie Trunk show that, for this one, kind of more of a greatest hit set, especially since the new album didn't come out quite yet. So just kind of talk about what kind of a set fans can expect from Whitesnake this summer.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the 60-minute. So, we're aiming for recognizable stuff. So I can't necessarily comment on the specifics of it, until the tour gets underway. But, people can expect, it's called the Jukebox Heroes Tour. So I think people are, hoping to hear songs that they know. And between Jason Bonham playing the Zeppelin stuff and us playing our hits and Foreigner playing their hits, it's easily a night where somebody can know every single song throughout the entire night, which is very rare.
Well, I was pretty much counting on you revealing the set list here on the show, Joel, song for song. I was counting on it, and now I don't know where to go now.
Yeah, no problem, man. You know what I'll do is I'll send you a JPEG. I'm actually looking at the set list right now here on the floor, so I'll take a picture of it and send it to you, and you can just post it, and then I'll be fired before the tour begins. So
the blood will be off your hands. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so excited to see Whitesnake on this, and I tell you, talk also about Foreigner, because I tell you what, Foreigner's a band that has almost had to rebuild themselves as a band, of course. Without Lou Gramm in the band, without a lot of the original members, here they are. They've worked hard. They started off opening on like Def Leppard tours, and going on first between Styx and Def Leppard. Now here they are headlining these big venues. Talk about what Foreigner. I mean, Jeff Pilson's a good friend of the shows. Kelly Hansen on vocals. They're just a monster group at this point, and I know you know those guys pretty well, man.
Yeah, I filled in for Mick Jones in 2011 when he was sick, so I've actually played with them briefly, to help out, and so they're all good friends of mine, and most of these guys have been in the band way longer than the original members were. So, it gets to the point where it's like, why are people complaining about that? I know they're an incredible sounding lineup. It's really some of the best musicians on the scene in that band, and especially, you named two of them right there. Kelly Hansen is just kind of like from another planet in terms of what he's doing with delivering that material. So, it's going to be great to be out with those guys. They're great guys too. From a friendship perspective, but obviously a musical perspective, hearing them, play great every night, it's going to be a pleasure.
Well, Whitesnake, from dating back to the inception of Whitesnake 40 years ago, David Coverdale has done nothing but work with the best musicians in rock. I mean, you think about how many wonderful musicians have come through the Whitesnake camp and guitarists, guys like John Sykes. I mean, you think about, the band that exists now with yourself and Reb Beach, what a guitar tandem that is. Tommy Aldrich, literally one of the greatest drummers in rock history, my favorite drummer ever. Michael Devin. I mean, you guys talk about just this cohesive group. You guys have been together now. I think you've been in there for about 4 or 5 years. Talk about this band, this group of Whitesnake here, because I mean, it's always such a good band, man.
It's cool. It's a great mixture of people. You got Michele Lupia, the keyboard player, is all the way from Italy, and Whitesnake's his favorite band. This was like his dream to be in this band. So his level of enthusiasm is like off the charts, and that's a great balance when you got guys who've been in the band for a long time, or around Reb is actually the longest standing member of Whitesnake at this point in time. I think he's in year 14 or 15 of being in this band. So longest member of Whitesnake in history, I believe. He's been in the band longer than anybody. Next to David, of course, So, those guys have been around a long time, and not that they're not enthusiastic, but it's cool, I think, to have guys like, Michele around, or myself, who's pretty new, just kind of excited to be here. And we all kind of come from slightly different schools musically, but we got this camaraderie that we all just get together and laugh and laugh. I mean, it's like the funniest band I've ever been a part of. Our band bus is just absolutely nothing but laughs the entire way. So we get along fantastic, and that goes a long way. That usually tends to go a lot further than guys who like the same bands or something, or have the same exact musical taste. So we mesh really well.
I think that's cool, and a lot of musicians I talk to, especially veteran bands, like Whitesnake, and you yourself have been around a long time and played with a lot of musicians, and it's almost like at this stage of your career, you've earned the right to be around people that you enjoy being around, and to be in bands that you have good camaraderie with. I think that's really cool and really important at this stage, especially a veteran band like Whitesnake that's been around. Fans expect certain things, high musicianship, great shows. David Coverdale, one of the great vocalists. It just has got to be kind of cool at this stage to go around hanging out with people you like. That's got to be a good coup for you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, David likes to surround himself with people that he enjoys being around too. It's not just about necessarily how you play, or he wants guys that are friendly and get along. I think at this stage of the game, I always tell him, it's like, well, David, you definitely deserve that at this stage of the game, A bunch of guys who are going to keep drama out of his camp, can you imagine how old that must get as somebody like David, who's been around for, I don't know how many years now, 45 years or whatever?
Yeah.
So something like that. What that must be like to get out on the road with the, prima donnas who are griping and pissing and moaning and infighting. So, the fact that he's got a camp here, a band where everybody gets along so great, I think is really important. I think really that's why he's still going, because he was eyeing retirement with the Purple album and making that his last thing. And I think when he got on the road with this lineup, he just had so much fun that he wanted to keep going.
That is so cool, and it's been kind of well documented. The album Flesh and Blood. David was disappointed that didn't come out in time to coincide with this summer tour. It's supposed to now come out in February. Kind of talk about that. I know there was some maybe some technical difficulties that happened. Is it a disappointment for you guys, or is it just kind of one of those deals gives you an opportunity to kind of build up through this tour and then look into the future to do that, and then hopefully a headlining tour to come off of that when that comes out?
Yeah, obviously it's disappointing that it's not out, and we're all eager to get it out. But at the same time, it's actually going to be a blessing in disguise, because I think next year we're looking at a really long, lengthy tour and a world tour, not just a 2-month run with Foreigner. So it's obviously from a business perspective going to make more sense to have it coincide with that. So. While in the short run it's disappointing and everybody's kind of eager to get it out there, because the label is very happy with it and all the songs, and it sounds really great, but it's obviously from a business standpoint it is going to make more sense to have it come out early next year. So it'll be a blessing.
And how important is this album for you? Being a part of the recording, being a part of, perhaps the writing and everything that goes into it, for you to establish yourself, in this band. 4 years in, you talked about Reb being in there for over a decade, and some of this kind of solidifies you as a member of Whitesnake. To be on an album like this. That's got to be a big deal for you personally.
Well, every step of my career is a big deal for me, you know? I mean, you never want to let the fans down or let yourself down in any regard with this, you know? You try and always have a positive attitude that, we're blessed to be able to do a job that we enjoy and get the opportunity to make music and have fun for a living. And so I always give it my all regardless of what I'm approaching in my career. So, you don't want to put pressure on yourself with that. So I really kind of don't. It's just a matter of making sure that you're giving it your all, and that sounds like a sports cliche, but it's true. You want to make sure you're giving it everything you have with everything you do in music.
Well, that bleeds over into what I want to talk about next, which is here in August in Atlantic City. You have some shows coming up with Cher. I was not even aware of your involvement with her. Talk about how that gig came about, because Cher, one of the biggest recording artists, perhaps of all time, female for sure. Here you are, you got a couple dates, August 17th and 18th in Atlantic City. Talk about how you got kind of involved, playing with Cher and what it's like with her. You talk about people that you get along with. Hopefully she's one of them, right? I mean, she always seemed cool to me.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that situation has a lot more to do with getting along with the music director and the band guys and impressing them than it does her. But she's great. It's very limited interaction. It's not like I'm hanging out with her on weekends. She took us all to the movies one night, which was fun. But it's that kind of came about through knowing Whitesnake wasn't going to tour in 2017 and just putting out texts and emails to my colleagues in the business. And then my friend Justin Derrico, who plays with Tank and plays on The Voice, recommended me to Dave Berry, who also plays on The Voice, and he was Cher's guitar player for a long time. And so it was supposed to be just one run at the beginning to fill in for him, and then Dave just got more and more busy with The Voice, and I just kind of became the guy as that went. So as of now, I'm kind of the first call guy on all the gigs. And so after the Atlantic City thing, she's doing a 5-week arena tour in Australia, which is cool to be a part of that. So it's really turned out to be a huge blessing and kind of one of those things out of left field that you never thought you'd be doing, but I'm actually having fun.
That's so awesome. And, I tell you, we, now that I think about it, we had Michael Sweet from Stryper on about a month ago, and he was talking about doing an album with you and how he was just so excited for this project and said it was just, I think he literally said the words, it's going to be the best album he's ever done. I think that was the words he used. Talk about that project and what it's like working with Michael and what this thing's gonna kind of be and what the process has been with this one.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, move forward with several projects that are just kind of, irons in the fire at this stage of the game, and the album with Michael is very much just that at this stage of the game. But as soon as our schedules open up and we can get together and do it, we're gonna make it happen. And we're on the same page in terms of just wanting to make a cool classic rock record. And he's a great guy. He's just super talented and very nice guy, and that's exactly what I like to surround myself with.
Well, and you had your own project, Joel Hoekstra 13. That album, the last one, Dying to Live, came out in 2017. So I guess we'll ask the same question again. What's going on with Joel Hoekstra's 13? You had some amazing musicians on this. Of course, Jeff Scott Soto, who's been on the show before. Vinny Appice, also a former guest. You had Tony Franklin. I mean, you had so many musicians come in and do this. That was a big deal for you. And what do you see moving forward for Joel Hoekstra's 13?
It's hard to say at this stage of the game. I mean, I tried to get a follow-up done a couple of times, a deal for a follow-up with Frontiers, and it just hasn't come together. I think it's just tough on both sides to justify it at this stage of the game. So just playing a little bit of the waiting game, I guess, for this for now. But obviously, very happy to have made that album and had the opportunity to do all the writing and everything, all the words and all the melodies and everything on that album. So, it was a nice feather in the cap to be able to get that out and have it be under my name and everything. And so who knows, man? You never know. But I'm always trying to move forward creatively, not just doing gigs. That's just the stuff that gets advertised or put up on my website. I mean, when I'm always back in the hotel room, I'm always working on writing or getting projects moving. So there's a lot of stuff in the works.
Well, it's a good spot to be in for you, having steady gigs with bands that are established, and then being able to have the creativity and the the ability. I don't know about I almost said the time. I really don't know where you find time to do a lot of this stuff. I don't know how you found time to do this interview, Joel. You've got so much going on, man. It's kind of crazy. It's a good problem to have, though. I'd say, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, people say that often, but you think about it, it's like, no. I mean, we're on tour with Whitesnake. We do 4 or 5 shows a week or something this summer with Foreigner. So there's 2 or 3 days off a week in there, and there's travel, but there's still opportunity to get work done. And especially when you're not home. I have kids at home, so when I'm home, it's actually harder because I'm with the kids all day, and then music has to start at about 8 at night. So it's whatever kind of I have left in the tank at that point. So the share thing is really easy for that because it's just residencies, in Vegas, like a little over 3 weeks, and you only do 3 shows a week. So I've got 4 days off a week out there. So it's people say, man, you're always working with it. It's like, not really. That's kind of easy. So I take it upon myself to get other stuff done. I mean, I'd like to think I can work more than 3 2-hour shows in a week and not be talking about how exhausted I am, right?
Yeah. It's funny. We just had Jeff Tate on, for former Queensryche singer, and he just said that, it isn't so much the shows themselves, it's just the travel. That's the full-time gig of it, is the travel, and the shows. Like, we get paid to travel. We do the shows for free. So
that's exactly right.
That's kind of the funny part.
The travel is the hard part. So you take that out of the equation with the share thing, it does make it a lot easier for sure.
That's awesome, and we're definitely going to be looking forward to that. And before we let you go, just looking at this upcoming tour, and so excited to see you guys on stage with the Mighty Foreigner, and Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin experience is awesome. If anyone's a fan of Led Zeppelin, talk about David Coverdale, because here's a guy like we talked about him being in the business for over 40 years, and all that he's done with Deep Purple, with Whitesnake. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame now as a member of Deep Purple, the Mach 3 lineup. Here he is. You talked about eyeing retirement a few years ago. Here he is at age 66 with a wonderful voice, one of the most recognizable, one of the great voices in rock history, the orchestrator of this wonderful band, this wonderful machine of Whitesnake. Just talk about David as a performer, as a singer, as a songwriter, and as a person, because I find him hilarious, and I just think he's just an all-time classic person and rock performer.
Yeah, David, in my experience in this, my time in the band has been great. He's great to work for or work with, he likes me to say, but realistically, he's the boss, so I always say I'm working for him. But he's been awesome, man. He's lots of fun. He loves to hang and be one of the guys when we're working. So he's all about the laughs, and then every once in a while you got to remind yourself, like, oh yeah, this guy has worked with Jimmy Page and Richie Blackmore, and like, who the heck am I? So it's great to get that opportunity. And so, anytime I work with veteran musicians, it's always sort of picking their brain in terms of what you can learn from them and how you can use that to build upon yourself and make yourself more successful, because they're where they are for a reason. And David got where he got because, it's obviously immensely talented, but very charming, witty guy, and great with people, and so all those things played into it. It wasn't just the fact that he sang amazing. So he's definitely a great dude. I'm grateful for my time in this band so far, and hope to continue on for a while.
Most certainly, and I tell you what, Joel, guys, the website is joelhoekstra.com. You can get all the info on the Whitesnake tour, the share dates, and everything else going on with Joel. And there's always something in the works. Joel, it's been a couple years, man. We can't thank you enough. I tell you what, we'll catch you here in Kansas City. I believe that it's July 17th. And if you or the band is up for any good barbecue, hit me up. I've got some great places. If you're into barbecue, I know you're a New York guy, but out here in the Midwest.
Oh no! I did a sit-down gig in Kansas City for like a month or two, and I remember eating it. I went to all the big places. What's the place where they serve it on the trays?
That's that's got to be Gates Barbecue.
Gates, yeah, Gates Barbecue. So there was like a few really popular ones right in that area, right by the Yeah, I'm trying to think what it was. The downtown area, I guess it was called, right?
Yeah, right down there. There's a couple. There's Gates. There's Joe's. It's Kansas City's thing, I guess. That's what we have. Fountains.
I had them all when I was there, man. I checked them all out, and there was definitely great barbecue there for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, Joel. We'll look forward to having you here. Maybe we'll have time to come back and say hello. It's been awesome having you on these times. We can't thank you enough for being part of the show and really just helping us out and helping us get to where we want to go, which is interviewing some of the great musicians in rock, man, and that includes you. So we can't thank you enough.
Well, likewise, brother, man. That goes right back at you. Thanks for the support and thanks for the exposure and all that good stuff. I totally appreciate it.
Always, man. We'll see you in Kansas City here in about a month. Best of luck, and we'll be watching, man. Thanks a lot.
Great. Thank you, Clint.
Thanks a lot, Joel. Appreciate it.
Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Well, it was great to catch up with our guy, Joel Hoekstra, and can't wait to catch up with him when they get to Kansas City for the Jukebox Heroes Tour with Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin experience. And, of course, Foreigner, what a tour that's going to be. A night of hits, a night of arena rock hits, and that's all you can ask for on a summer tour. It's going to be great here in Kansas City, July 17th. So be sure to go to joelhoekstra.com to check out all the info on Joel, all the projects he's done and that he's up to. He's got a lot going on. Can't wait to hear this album with he and Michael Sweet from Stryper. That's going to be really cool. Huge fan of Michael's. He's been on this show now a couple of times as well. Just a pleasure to have you here on the Music Mania podcast and interview. A couple years in the making. We've talked before. It's a great time now to bring you on with the project you have coming up. This is an ambitious project, if I may say so myself. I was just checking out some of the early stuff you sent me on this graphic novel. It's called King of Kings. It's going to be 160 pages. First off, before we get into some of the specifics, where did you come up with the concept for this? I know this has been a passion of yours for many years. Just kind of lay the groundwork for how this thing came about.
Well, I tell you what, it's really interesting, and I'll tell a quick story to kind of like put it into some perspective for people. Like, this is really like a dream project for me, and it was not it wasn't my initial idea. You ever hear that story about the guy who's like stuck in the flood and the flood's coming and he's on his roof and he's praying to God and God sends him a rowboat and then a bigger boat and then a helicopter and he's like, God's going to save me. And he gets up to heaven and he's like, hey, God, you made me look like a fool. I told everybody you're going to save me. What the hell? He's like, I sent a boat and a bigger boat and a helicopter. What are you waiting for?
Yeah.
And there's some truth to that. Like in the past, I'd always tried to like go out and like make my own destiny and make my own plans. But so much of life is just kind of capitalizing on opportunities when they come along. And Mark Fulton was a writer. He was writing Hawkman for DC at the time and Evangeline and a couple other cool books. And he just approached me at random kind of. Said, hey, I like your work and you seem like a nice guy and I got this idea for a book, but it's like kind of about music, and I don't really know anything about music. And I was like, all right, well, we'll meet up at New York Comic Con and we'll talk about it. So he pitched me on a book called Odin and the Gods of Rock, which was going to be Odin and Company, his kids' band, that basically is like a behind the music on where it went wrong or whatever. And the first thing I said to him was, can we make Jesus the bad guy? And he said, okay, and he laughed. And I was like, all right, if you'll laugh at that, I'm down. And really, it blossomed into what is just a dream project for me. I mean, one of my biggest influences as a creative person is Monty Python. And, just very quickly, I just wanted to bring to life, that Terry Gilliam God, that you see occasionally in the Monty Python, bit, of just really just to bring that to life, this sort of silly notion that we have of God and these silly notions that we have about religion. It's funny, when we started the book, I was an atheist, and but I was an atheist who's a follower of Christ and a follower of Buddha, I'm a turn the other cheek guy, and, I think those are all great people that are worth emulating. I just don't believe in the dogma associated with them, or at least I didn't. Well, I still don't really believe in the dogma, but I didn't really believe in much of the magic or anything associated with them as well. But I separately kind of had a bit of a spiritual awakening due to depression and body pain issues and stuff, and trying to get over that stuff while I was researching this book and writing it for the past 7 years. I mean, it's been a lot of dancing around, co-writing. Mark's in Jersey, I'm out here. Everybody's all over the country. So some of the prep and design work and writing of the scripts and stuff took a while, especially to get it right. But it was amazing, to go from a really abstract idea of everything that I was looking at as I was researching to sort of an idea where I was like, some of this may be true.
Awesome. That's great. That's great. And you got a couple. You got some promo videos on this thing that I've seen, which is hilarious. One of which is you as Jesus, which you kind of mentioned earlier, and the other which is your dad, Dee Snider, as Odin. Great look for him, by the way, and great look as Jesus for you. Those great promo videos, man. Loved them.
Thank you. Yeah, he nailed it. It was so funny. When you're doing a comic book, it's you can do still images and stuff, and we're actually finishing up our final video. This was kind of our two pre-sale weeks or whatever, prior to our press release and stuff, which goes out next week, and our final video, which is our behind the scenes stuff. But we wanted to do stuff that was a little bit more fun, because we felt like the comic book is really for a much larger audience than just the comic book audience. It's really for people who love music. It's for people who love, conversation about difficult subjects and like to laugh about the stuff that so many people try to make sacrosanct and make hard to have a conversation about. The reality is so much of these religions, they're all the same. I mean, if I took a bunch of quotes from Muhammad, out of context, and I just told them to you, and I tried to tell you who said this, Jesus or Muhammad, you'd be really surprised about a lot of the things that he said. There are other contexts in which, people will then frame the thing of well, yeah, but he's saying that he wants to hurt the infidels, whatever else. Yeah, a lot of the religions are formed in a certain amount of fear for different beings or people or whatever. But all of the religions have those aspects, to some degree. And, we can't focus on that. If you're trying to make a relationship work, and I think we want to make the planet work, you can't focus on the problems. You got to focus on all your common ground, and you got to, move your conversation forward to new ideas. And I think the more we have that positive conversation, and I really hope this is a positive conversation starter, it's not meant to be bitter. There are some real reasons to be bitter if you're a Norse religion person. I mean, people were tortured and killed in the name of Jesus Christ, and Jesus never would have friggin' went for that in a million years. And, there are reasons to be upset about these things, but we've chosen not to, be upset. We've chosen to laugh about it a little bit and just go, ha, 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 yeah, it was a little long ago. But these things, these things happened, and this is kind of stupid. This isn't what Jesus would do, and, this isn't really, we aren't all caricatures of ourselves. There's much deeper things going on here. When you get down to it, they're all very similar kind of things that they're trying to accomplish. Togetherness, bring together the community, empower their community, and protect their community from whatever forces they think may be opposed to their best interest. And this is just something that we all do, and we can't demonize each other, for doing it.
Well, I think this is hilarious, and just going through what I've seen so far in the previews, and the illustrations are unbelievable. And I know you've been doing this for a long time, and I know that you've been interested in kind of in this kind of art and comic books and things like that, and you've been doing it a while. But also, you got an Indiegogo going on right now too, where you can help back this thing. Talk about how people can get involved and back in the project and some of the cool stuff they can get if they donate to the campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've written for Marvel and DC and Disney, Pixar, and the Muppets and stuff. And, I was very frustrated with the system, and I went out of my way to make this, the greatest kind of project I could make, and do it the right way. And we were funding it ourselves completely. I mean, I was. Until I had a fire that took out my office at the end of last year. And then it was just a bit of too much of a strain on my family to keep going. So we're 2/3 of the way done. And to, go to print and do all these cool, fun things that we want to do, we need $50K to raise. I think we've got we're getting close to 10,000 right now. And we got a lot of cool perks. We're doing a really cool King of Kings concert. We got a lot of cool concert perks. Me and my father recorded a single, a promotional single as Odin and Thor singing. and we won an award for it while I was, finishing the project to get it off the ground. And we did an animated music video for it, as well as the promo videos, the wrestling promo videos. So you can go see all the videos on our Indiegogo, and you can buy the book in various forms. We got cool fan packs and some really cool concert exclusives for the gig on the 21st of July at the Whiskey Go-Go. And actually, a cool announcement, you're the first for people to know because I haven't been able to make a post today. We're going to be doing, basically previewing my father's new album, For the Love of Metal, during the meet and greet, and then before the show starts, and then songs throughout the night. We'll be playing he'll be playing his new single live that night too, and then also he and I are going to sing together on that song that we won the award for King of Kings, and sing that for the first time. So it's going to be a fun time. We got it's going to be a big party. It's going to be our kind of celebration to wrap all this up, and yeah, please check out the Indiegogo and back us, and tell anybody who you think can take a joke about religion and has been waiting for this shit said.
That's awesome, and I was looking at this concert, but that's so great that you're going to be doing, because we're looking forward to Dee's solo album coming out, and it's going to be great. And you got some other friends coming out for this. Ira Black from Wasp is going to be there. You got Andre Holmes, Rachel Lauren, Cherokee Fortune. This is at the Whiskey on July 21st. So check that out right now. You can get tickets right now, only $25. What a night! I mean, that's going to be an insane. I mean, Ira Black, one of my favorite guitarists. You got some great lineup here. It's going to be fun, man. How cool is that?
Oh yeah, he's one of my best friends. I mean, it's really a fun night. Andre Padre is my songwriting partner. He and I have a little production company called The Good Shepherds, and we're producing some stuff for Rachel Lauren and her new album, and we're producing some stuff for Cherokee Fortune, and they're two of my favorite, LA vocalists, even though Rachel's in New York, but she's out here a bunch, and so I had to get them down. And then Ira's one of my best friends, and Ira's playing with friggin' Dokken right now and Morbid Angel, and I love him. He's one of the greatest guitarists in fucking rock. So I had to bring in my peeps and make it a party. So we may make a few more little announcements here or there. I mean, we already are doing a lot. My friends Fall Silent, who are backing me up as my backing band, and they're opening up the show. They're a killer metal band. Their singer Walter just wails, and we're doing a really cool video pre-show for my previous project, Blacklight District, which just came out from Image Comics last year. We got a lot of acclaim. It was the first comic book music project of its kind. It was a 6-track EP and 6 comic books, all by some of my favorite creators like Jason Pearson and Phil Hester, Eric Larson, J.K. Woodward, Chris Burnham. Really like dream team of people, and then some people that I love that people don't know, and we got a lot of acclaim, and it's actually free right now. You can check it out too on the Blacklight District website, www.blacklightdistrict.co, and you can listen and read the comics. But through the Indiegogo, if you help us reach our different goals, we want to do a free print run of Blacklight District to give to everybody. As well as a whole bunch of other cool stuff. So get over to the Indiegogo and check it out. I mean, really, this is just a 7-year labor of love, and it's really, really well done. If the concept piques your interest at all, I think you'll really like what we have to offer.
It's very cool, man. Absolutely. And go to jesseblaze.com. You can there's a link to the Indiegogo right there on your website, jesseblaze.com. And I want to get into your rock career a little bit, because going back to me, I kind of became familiar with you from the show Rock the Cradle, which was awesome. And there was something funny about that show, because I went back and watched some of the clips, and I realized you were trying to do kind of a ballad, a slowed down version of We're Not Gonna Take It by Twisted Sister, and your dad, Dee Snider, was kind of iffy about it. And then he went and did the same thing himself, and it was awesome. A year ago, his version was amazing too, and that's what you were trying to do it 10 years ago.
That's so funny. Well, you know what the really funny thing about that is, that wasn't really true. I mean, it was true, but that I was doing that, but their reactions weren't true. The first person I called when I had the idea, because we did the fake out. We did 30 seconds of an acoustic,
right, and then pumped it in. Yeah.
We switched over to a rock version. So I called my dad. I said, "Hey, I got this idea." I'm they're they're trying to paint me in this corner with Crosby and like, you know, being like against them or whatever. I'm like, let's pretend like we're going to do an acoustic version of We're Not Going to Take It, and then like I'll switch it into a rock version. You know, and he was like, yeah, like me and Mom can pretend like, you know, we don't know what you're doing, like we think it's a big mistake, and it'll be a, you know, big surprise on the show. And we were like, oh, fucking hey, awesome. So I mean, like, we weren't really playing fair. You know, I knew like going in every week what we were doing. It was a bummer that the show didn't like do better. You know, it's you know, I got a lot of accolades from it. You know, in the end, you know, I didn't win. I think it's probably for the best. I didn't really want a record deal with Jive Records anyway. You know, you know, that was a weird turning point for me. I had a really strange thing happen. You know, I was in a very aggressive punk metal band called Baptized by Fire. We've got a song called Juggernaut that has survived in commercials and as the theme song for the movie Crypt, which is a podcast with Joe Lynch and Adam Green. So, you know, we were doing cool stuff, but we were coming up in a time in the music business when everybody was getting dropped from their labels, and anything that wasn't like a safe bet, you know, wasn't really considered. And we weren't really a safe bet. We were really sloppy, not sloppy, but like, you know, freaking dirty metal band.
Sure.
And I had a very strange thing happen with Rock the Cradle. Everybody saw me on the show, and the more superficial-minded people looked at me and they went, this guy's handsome. I bet I can sell him to Middle America, and, you know, he'll be the next Bon Jovi. And then they came down to my show, and I was very specific how I looked at my show, my moral victory party after we finished Rock the Cradle. And I invited every single connection who I knew was, like, interested in me. And I had Liberty spikes and shirtless, you know, nipple piercings or whatever. Like, you know, just like, fuck, I was an animal. I was in really good shape, too. And I played with my metal band, and, you know, we brought the house down, and we sang Fuck You, one of our friggin', you know, one of our songs we were known for, and so many other freaking raucous tunes. And every person in that audience who was there, who had viewed me as like in a Bon Jovi investment, sort of just like stood there with their mouths open and went, I may have been mistaken, you know. And then when I went to everybody, like afterwards, and I was like, so what do we think, you know, kind of thing, they just all kind of went, oh, it was good. But it wasn't what they were expecting.
Sure.
It wasn't what they had in mind, and they didn't know exactly how to, like, what they were going to do to pitch this or whatever. So, like, everything kind of, like, stalled as, like, you know, people were just kind of trying to wrap their head around what I actually was to what I kind of maybe appeared as, doing a bunch of cover songs. You know, I'm a songwriter, you know, I used to write fucking, you know, really heavy metal punk songs. You know, now I write a freaking slew of shit because, I mean, after that experience, I got really pissed off because it was just such a middling, you know, it would have been one thing if people were like, I hate this, Jesse, you got to change what you're doing. But nobody did that. Everybody just kind of went, oh, you're a bit different than I thought you were. Yeah, no, this is cool.
Yeah.
And it just didn't go anywhere. And I was just like, fuck, man, I hate a middle-of-the-road reaction. I'm just like, you know, like, I'm not in it for that. That's like, that really just, like, ticked me off. So I kind of set out to just write with everybody that I could and to prove that, like, I could do anything. And, you know, what I had chosen to do was kind of simplistic, you know, punk metal stuff, you know, whatever. And I was like, you know, they can't appreciate, you know, what I was trying to do, but they'll see once I freaking write every single genre under the sun and, you know, demonstrate my ability. So basically that's what I did. And I did, like, a lot of placements for, you know, 6-7 years. Like, yeah, I was on Monday Night Football with my song Promised Land, and NASCAR with Crank It Up, and Alive in the movie Reach Me, and they were using that to promote that on the trailers on TV. And, you know, we just had, you know, song after song after song, you know, that were getting licensed. And, I mean, it's a lot of work to freaking get these things licensed, and they don't pay, like, huge, and it's not like, you know, getting your album, you know, to a label and, like, getting it promoted. But for me, you know, I'm a songwriter first and foremost, and I wanted to do it, you know, kind of as a worker man writing songs. So, you know, it all culminated pretty nice with me winning that award, you know, for that song that I recorded with my pops. And, you know, and now I've just been, you know, producing other people
while I work on, bringing my own stuff forward. And at the gig on the 21st, I think I'm actually going to be releasing like a little double single. At the same time, I have a song called Knockout that I'm sitting on, and it's a really good one. So I'll be putting something out again soon. But yeah, I mean, that's basically what happened to me. I went underground and became a songwriter and wrote my ass off, and now I'm planning my breakout.
Absolutely, and that's kind of what my follow-up question was going to be, because to me, and this is coming from someone that's as big a fan of Twisted Sister as you'll ever find. I was at Twisted Sister's last ever show in America in South Dakota. I've always felt that Dee Snider is probably one of the top 5 greatest rock frontmen of all time, and you possess a lot of that natural ability. You could see it. I mean, in things you've done and in the music you've done. Where do you see your musical career kind of going from here, especially with all this other stuff you're doing? I know you've had a lot of things that you've done that maybe people don't even know about. You mentioned Monday Night Football and the movie Reach Me and things like that. Where do you see it going from here?
Well, I've got a lot of plans, but a lot of them are secret.
Fair enough.
My main plan is to produce other people. I'm really prolific. I write. I mean, I'm sitting on 500 killer hooks. I tend to write the hook and then I'll move on, just so that I can collaborate on the rest of whatever it might be with the people I'm working with. But I've been sitting on things for so long. I haven't had the ability to move forward very quickly. But I finally, have found all the relationships that I needed to be able to just kind of start moving forward without a budget and just produce people and produce music and get things done. So I'm starting to get a real bit of wind underneath me in what I can get done on my own, where over the past decade I'd always been at people's mercy, or having to pay money like everybody else to get things done. But as I've empowered myself to help other people, I've empowered myself to help myself. So I'm gearing up for a little writing retreat with one of my producers for a month, where he and I are planning to bang out 2 albums. What'll actually be done with those and what you guys will end up seeing, I can't really talk about, because I have kind of an interesting plan.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm prolific, and I'm not going away, and I'm just going to keep on doing this until people go, oh, wait a second, so-and-so has made music, and it's very good. Look at this. My plan is to change the world, save the world. That's why I make music. I said at the beginning, I have a lot of health problems. I got hit by a car when I was 11. Damaged my brain pretty good, and damaged my body. Didn't really do much about it. Didn't really know the extent of the damage until very recently. Over the past 6 years, I came to excruciating pain in my body. I had a lot of things come to head in relationships and just sort of problems that I have in my brain. There's certain things that I can do really well, which is the hard things. Things that other people have difficulty doing. I hope that I can do it. But little things sometimes are really hard for me. And I have been suffering, with body pain for a long time now, and dealing with, brain problems, not even knowing that I was having brain
Sure.
problems, unable to get over the shit. And I really believe that, the only reason why I suffered this way is so that I could be of use to the world, and that I could have something to say that would be worth people's time, and that I could bring them information and wisdom that they could actually use. And if I couldn't do any of that, what would be the point of me trying to be a musician anyway and try to tell stories? And, I needed to suffer, and I needed to learn these things so that I could bring messages and wisdom to people. And, I'm trying to save the world in a hell of a lot more ways than just music and writing. But that's always been my goal. When I was a kid, my dad was a rock star, and I wasn't. And you really feel that if your father's recognizable and people, or mother, whatever, and you get, you get a few instances of people being very enthusiastic about your parent and having absolutely no interest in you. And it just puts a real bit of smallness within you. You know, my dad had it. He thought he got that back. And then I kind of got it even more so, just, you know, being beside a God. You know, you got to be able to take all of these things, you know, and put into something so that it's all worth it. You know, the Muppets, for me, was a saving grace. You know, these idiots who couldn't get anything right, you know, they made me feel like I wasn't as bad as them and I could get it right. And, you know, that was like my love with art and wanting to entertain people and make people's life better with art. And, you know, I've been like forever trying to basically, you know, settle the scales for all the people who have inspired me, starting with my father and Jim Henson and Gene Roddenberry and comic creators and filmmakers and all these different people. So, you know, for me, it's all about changing the world and making it a better place and taking the pain that I've experienced and putting it to good use. So I'm not going anywhere. And, you know, I think slowly but surely people are figuring out that, and they're finding me. And, you know, I'm really happy if it's, you know, one person at a time who really gets it, and take my 1 and my 10 and my 100 and my 1,000 and my 10,000, and before you know it, who knows where I'll be.
You're not going away. You might as well get on board. I tell you what, jesseblaze.com. That is the website where you can get all the info on the graphic novel King of Kings. We so look forward to it. Please go to the Indiegogo and contribute. Jesse, I tell you what, man, cannot thank you enough. You have this kind of inherent spirit about you that you just see so many great things in, and a lot of people saw it from a long time ago, and now you're still forging a path in many different ways, and I think that's awesome, man. So let's keep in touch. Best of luck with this project, man, and when it's done, we'll be sure to help get the press release out, get everything out we can to help you out, man. So please keep in touch, and best of luck, my friend.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It was great, and thank you to all you guys who go check out the Indiegogo for King of Kings. Love and respect.
Absolutely. See you, Jesse. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Well, we can't thank both guests enough, Jesse Blaze Snider and Joel Hoekstra from Whitesnake, for joining us. What a show this has been. It's been a pleasure to have both of them on, and it's just the start of the summer for the Music Mania podcast, because we got so much more coming up, so many shows to attend. You can check out all of my concert reviews on our website, musicmaniapodcast.com. Also have all the shows archived, so you've got shows dating back several years, all there. All the interviews I've ever done are there, archived on the website for free. Always appreciate you subscribing on YouTube and on iTunes. And if you don't have an iPhone, you can get the Double Pod app on Android, which has all the iTunes podcasts. So please do that. We always appreciate you subscribing and reviewing the show. It's what keeps us going and what keeps us, intuitive with the numbers. So hope you guys are having a great summer so far, enjoying your buddies, enjoying the outdoors, enjoying some live shows, hopefully enjoying some vacations, keeping safe, keeping happy. That's what it's all about as we approach, the 4th of July holiday and all that's going to be going on with that. I'm going to be on the road for a lot of this summer, covering shows, going to concerts is what I do during the summer. And then this fall, I'm going to be going out on a 3-month documentary shoot for a college football documentary I'm working on called Saturday Supremacy. So got a lot going on myself. It's always a pleasure bringing you the show each and every week for free, and we just enjoy having you guys send us messages, send us all your feedback. Please do that at musicmania_show on Twitter. We will always get back to you if you have an idea for a guest or have a concert review or pictures you want us to post on our website. We'll be glad to do that as well. So once again, thanks to our guests, Jesse Blaze Snider and Joel Hoekstra from Whitesnake. It has been a true pleasure joining us next week. I've taped an interview. It's on. It's happening. Ricky Rocket from Poison will be joining us next week to talk about the Poison Tour, much more. All good things right here on the Music Mania podcast.